if you're trying to play that up to take science's side over some divine intervention, why did you add a divine intervener?
Yeah.
So I don't want to take our movie direct recommendations down like one single path and genre restrict them. Uh, but this does come directly on the heels of a previous recommendation from Bill, the movie Samsara. I wound up watching that, if follow up is acceptable, and I absolutely loved it. It
Hmm.
was stunning, it was striking. So immediately following, I went to search on Netflix for Baraka, the
Yeah.
previous film by the creators of Samsara. And instead of that, I got a recommendation by Netflix for a film called One Day on Earth. It is, it's not exactly similar to Samsara, other than the fact that it does show a series of clips from around the planet,
Right.
but it is entirely different in that they decided to throw captions on a lot of images. There is a point in the film where there's a montage of images from around the planet and it's just listing countries. So the basic premise of the movie One Day on Earth is an examination of humanity, what we are, and where we live. The movie is bookended by an approach of a Soyuz capsule to the International Space Station delivering a new crew. So it opens up with initial approach, and the movie closes out with the hatch opening and the new group of
Hmm.
astronauts entering the International Space Station. Spoiler alert. You say spoiler alert after the spoiler, right?
Right.
That's how it works.
Mhm.
That's usually how it works.
Okay. One huge thing about it though, it was a crowdsourced film. So the creator of it put out a call for videos from everywhere on the planet on October 10th, 2010. They said they got 3,000 hours of video footage from every recognized country on the planet. And it doesn't really take a linear form. It walks you through thematic elements instead. When I initially saw it, it kind of opens with the sunrise, and I anticipated a walk through
Yeah.
that day. But if you think about it, the sunrise, it's not like the sun rises once on the planet
Right.
and it's daytime for the planet. So instead of going chronologically through October 10th, 2010, they decided to address different thematic elements of human existence from birth to concepts of marriage, education, access to water, environmental toxicity, food production, food consumption, and it lays it out in just glorious fashion.
So we saw the first 5 minutes of it. Are they all quality shots, or did they accept like phone videos and stuff like that, or is this all professional people submitting?
The bulk of the movie, I would say, is shot by people who at least identify themselves as photographers.
Right.
There are a few obvious, just if you gave me a camera, what I would make.
Right.
And that's, I mean, that is, there's like 209 countries the United Nations recognizes, something around there.
Right.
You're not going to necessarily find a professional photographer everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another thing about that is when you have thousands of people participating in a project, you are not going to get a consistent style, but that's all managed by the way it's stitched together into a story.
Right. I mean, it is a genius idea just from like costs. Like you just ask people to send video in. So like you like kind of get all your material at once, and I don't know how long would you think they took to edit that? Like how would you even start editing something like that? Just watch.
If I had
every
to
single-
take a shot in the dark, I'd say 6 months.
Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
mean, you would just scrap. Like you'd have to just like look at it and like scrap it almost immediately if you have.
Well, a big part of it would be you categorize, if your intent coming into this is to show something from each country, then you split it up into by countries,
Right.
and you assign people who could be just interns, go through the footage, find things that you think could be usable.
And then give them to me, and I'll take them.
Yeah, and that takes 3,000 hours down to maybe 200 hours.
Right.
Makes it a lot more manageable. And 200 hours is about how much footage you would shoot on a feature film. Anyhow,
Okay.
Is it really 200 hours goes into
it
a feature
depends.
film?
It depends.
Wow.
So if you look at a director like Robert Rodriguez, he shoots maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
Or not, that's not true.
For a 90-minute movie, he shoots 95 minutes of film.
Yeah, it's very short. And it depends on the exact project, I'm sure. But like, what's his first one called? Remind me.
Oh God, El Mariachi.
Yeah, that's it. And he say it's a 90-minute film. I think he did shoot about 2 hours. It was incredible. That's very hard to do.
So you get one shot. You get one.
Yeah,
try.
pretty much. You hear the same thing about Woody Allen as well. Like he'll only shoot one take.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas Stanley Kubrick would shoot
Yeah.
2,500 hours.
Exactly.
I know Clint Eastwood has the same reputation. Like Matt Damon told a story where like, can I shoot this again? And he's like, are you really gonna do better? And he's like, like, then
Yeah.
no, we're not.
Yeah, the trick for that is you have to come into it prepared. You need to go through the rehearsals
Yeah,
and you answer all those questions about how you want everything to be. And then when shooting comes down, because the problem is when you do something for the first time, it's genuine. And then the more you do it, the more rehearsed it seems.
It's funny that you mentioned rehearsal. In One Day on Earth, there's actually a scene in the Netherlands, I think, where there's a little girl talking about how she's going to jump on the train to go see her mom, and she's super excited about that. And later on in the film, it shows the little girl at the train station saying, "We missed the train."
Aw.
She delivered a whole lot of lines in one little take, and she's probably 8 years old.
Right.
So they probably spent an hour and a half on the street getting this little girl to say just right what she was going to do. So they missed her train, and
That's too bad.
yeah.
Is there any, like, obviously there's going to be similarities to Samsara. Is there anything that you'd say this is why you watch this instead of Samsara?
So Samsara, every social gathering ever conducted at my home that doesn't surround like the Super Bowl or something, Samsara will be on my TV.
Right.
It's just Samsara is the wallpaper for your home.
Oh yeah, I said that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful, breathtaking, and it is so silent that you write your own story
Right.
in watching Samsara, or you draw your own conclusions.
Mhm.
One Day on Earth, it kind of lays out its agenda immediately. I think its tagline has something to do with figuring out the true meaning of who we are.
Right.
So it's One Day on Earth lists statistics to you on the screen.
Oh yeah, I did
It
see that.
shows locations on screen.
For 10-10-10.
Yes.
Yeah.
It includes a whole lot of user testimony, I would say. It has a whole lot of scenes in which someone is on screen talking about the significance or insignificance of something.
Right.
It doesn't just show events occurring in real time
Mm-hmm.
and beautiful time lapses like Samsara.
Yeah. It did seem like they got. I mean, anytime I see anything shot in North Korea, I'm impressed. like video got out from North Korea.
Yeah.
So
There is a delightful tidbit in the film about the people who shot that in North
Oh,
Korea.
no.
They actually appear on camera together in front of Communist Party headquarters, and they're a husband and wife team doing this.
Yeah.
And they're standing in front of it, and he wants to kiss her, and she's like, "No, this is not a
Yeah.
public display of
No.
affection." So he kisses his finger and touches her lips and
Oh.
says, "I love you," and she's like, "I really enjoy being married to you too." Like, she's just terrified. She won't even say
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
And then they grab their camera and book.
Yeah.
So it's very.
And leave the country, I
Yeah.
assume. At that
I'd
point.
imagine. I was thinking about that. Like, did they make sure? Did they send this? Like, put this on the internet through a VPN? And
Yeah.
that's, I know. Like, if you go to Dubai and you want regular internet, like actually American Western corporations operating out of Dubai actually have to run quasi illegal VPNs because of the Dubai internet censorship.
Oh yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah.
So I don't think North Korea is without internet, but I'm very sure it's heavily monitored, heavy
Yeah.
censored internet. So I don't, and I know that if a camera crew comes there, I'd imagine security is going to review all of your footage before you
Right.
leave.
Before
the
you
country.
leave. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was writing my own story for them in my
Well, I
head.
mean, both Samsara and this, the footage was them marching. So maybe they're completely cool with showing their military strength.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's their thing. They
Yeah.
put on military parades. The United States does too. I mean, that's
No, yeah.
Actually, I'm sure that's how they got the footage out. Was that it was specifically at this event?
yeah.
true. And I suppose if they shot enough footage, they could get it past the censors on the way out. That one segment with the husband and wife
Mhm.
standing in front of the place. It's a really bizarre, intimate moment in the movie.
Hmm.
It's an excellent way to showcase that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be awesome just to have your kid born on 10-10-10 because you have the best birthday present when he's like old enough to understand. Like, and here's all the events that happened on the day you were born. Like,
That is a good point.
yeah, like
Interesting.
like easy.
It's like how some people have the newspaper from the day they were born.
yeah, you have
This is
like
way better than that.
yeah, you have like a bunch of news. Yeah, you have everything that occurred.
Do
More
you know
or
what I
less.
have from the day I was born? Actually, I don't want to say it because I don't want to disclose my birthday.
Yeah. Wow.
Never mind.
Yeah.
There's a substantial global event from the day I was born.
Nice.
Okay.
That is all. Highly,
Wow.
I'll tell you though, another thing I would say about this is in the way that Samsara depicted violence and food production, I would say those are probably like the two scenes that I know that they're what I saw first.
Mm-hmm.
They address violence and food as well on One Day on Earth, and they do it in a far more direct method. Samsara kind of just gives you
Yeah, it's
weapons manufacturing and military hardware and then shows the mangled veteran.
right.
One Day on Earth gives you, a bloody person.
Oh wow.
However, it's not a super grisly war scene.
Mhm.
You don't have to worry about seeing war violence, but it definitely unflinchingly addresses the unrest on the planet on that day. Because if you remember, October 2010, the Syrian civil war hadn't broken out yet,
Mhm.
but there were conflicts and unrest throughout the planet elsewhere. So there were heavy-handed policing actions and things like that. They didn't show Iraq, although they did very much directly address the Iraq war. Another incredibly touching scene from the movie is a lady, she's just handheld selfie camming it, talking about how her participation in the project was supposed to be her husband coming home from Iraq, and instead he had been
Oh,
extended in
man.
Iraq. So you get
Okay.
to, and I think it's just great because the movie it doesn't I mean, it says on 10, 10, 10 this many times in the movie,
Right.
but it sends home very much the entire planet. There are scenes from Iraq on this movie,
Mhm.
and then they get to show the American family sitting at home saying, "Yeah, my family's still over there."
I'd be interested to see this done again and see how many similarities they could pull 10 years later.
You mean like from the same people that put this together?
Yeah, same people, but like, do another group sourcing and then say, look, where they said the kid was supposed to die 10 years later.
Mhm.
I don't want to see.
No, he was supposed to
If
only
he-
live for
he
10
was-
Yeah.
years.
Well, no, I want to see like if they could find like they have another story where like
Right.
another kid's in that exact same situation.
Well, you could do it 15, 15, 15,
There you
right?
go.
And then,
Wait a minute.
Oh, that doesn't work.
yeah.
We're going to have to change calendars to make that
But
happen.
you know what I'm saying? Just see like if they could say like show how much hasn't changed between
Mhm.
two or
Well,
has changed.
The awesome thing about it is if you pay attention to stuff in the world, they mention a lot of vital statistics about the planet on the movie. So they mention on 10, 10, 10, there were 6.9 billion humans. Do you know how many there are now?
7.2.
7.4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've added 500 million people. We've added 1 1/3 United States of America to the human population in
In
just under 5 years.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fascinating things. You guys saw in the opening scene, they show a military parade in North Korea, and up on the viewing stand, you see Kim Jong Un, and you instantly recognize, oh, there's Kim Jong Un. He's the dictator of North Korea. And then you go, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this was 5 years ago. Kim Jong Il hadn't abdicated yet.
Yeah.
And then you finally notice over on the right side in his military outfit, there's Kim Jong Il.
Yeah. Mad Dog and his son.
I actually went the other way around. I saw Kim Jong Il first,
Uh,
and then I saw Kim Jong Un.
yeah.
But-
You're just saying Hans
right.
Bricks in your mind.
Yeah, to the same effect.
There you go.
Have you seen anything else that was crowdsourced?
I have not seen any feature-length crowdsourced film before.
Okay. I know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt has a company or a project called
yes.
Hit Record.
Did that ever take off?
I think so. It's doing very well. I mean, I have never seen anything from it, but I have seen that he's put out a call for entries on several occasions. Like, for example, there was one time where he said he wants footage of stoplights
Interesting.
for some reason. I never followed up on it. And then Hit Record, last I heard, it was coming to TV in some form.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
too.
that was actually the very last I heard of it.
Mhm.
I know, very unimportant, but he's going to star in Fraggle Rock, which is
Yeah.
I saw that as well.
that's going to be awesome.
Live action, Fraggle Rock.
There's
Ah,
excuse me. There's something similar to this, which I think you recommended to me, which is a collection of video from September 11th.
That was me. Yeah,
Ah,
110 minutes.
80
Yeah.
minutes.
But
to
you've both
change-
seen it, right?
Yeah.
80 minutes to change the world or something?
Yeah. 90 something. Yeah. Something like
Now
that.
that one's interesting because it's all in the same place and they
Oh.
edit it together chronologically.
Yes.
How does this compare to? Can you even compare it?
To a degree, other than that, like, I think the three of us were together in a place on 10-10-10. Now that I think about it,
That's not unlikely.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just a long time ago
Yeah.
to consider. But 10-10-10 wasn't a day that change the world. And I think that's the beauty of it. A whole lot of what you see in this is just another day. A whole lot of it is mundane. It does mention to the fact, though, hey, humans were at war on this day, and hey, there was heavy unrest in places, but it's not the same in that it's a real time account of a world changing event.
They're trying to
However,
capture the spirit of the planet or of the civilization.
yes, and this one day on Earth is broken into, it's instead of being edited together chronologically, it's edited together thematically.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going through time, it does. There are segments in it that are chronologically featured. So I mentioned before, it's bookended by a Soyuz spacecraft docking
Yeah, I
at
was
the
wondering
International
if
Space Station.
for some reason they showed like I wonder if they like opened the hatch really close to midnight that day at one whatever like
I believe they said it was like 11:50 p.m. or something.
right. So
was-
like that's actually how the day started was where they show it at the start and then how it ended.
How do you keep time on an orbiting space station?
They use UTC, which is just Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is what they operate off of. Their telephone number, however, has a Houston area code.
That's
Excellent.
awesome.
I would love to get a hold of that number.
Yeah. I would also think it would be I don't know. What was I going to say? I lost it.
You know, that's something to bring up, though. Another change that has happened in the world. So it used to be, speaking of the space station, when it shows the Soyuz approaching, it used to take them, they would launch, and then up to 6 days later, it would take them 3 to 6 days from launching to landing. And I don't know if you've seen the inside of I haven't seen it, but have you seen footage of the inside of a Soyuz?
Super open and cozy.
Yeah.
Like
That's 3 people sharing the front seat of a Ford Mustang
right.
for like a week. And now they have it down to like 6 hours. Like
Nice.
it's just a beast of a commute. Like they blast off in a rocket. 6 hours later, they are in the space station.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I do wish that we'd all go to the same time. Like as much as we operate as a planet, like just have a time that we all use.
It's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
Considering the factors that would contribute to that happening, you're just saying, so like right now, who gets to say that though? I guess China will be the one.
It would be GMT, just like the space station.
I mean,
We'll all be on that time.
Yeah, you just
That's on a very Western Hemisphere Eurocentric view of the world.
Well, even if not the entire planet, then it has to happen.
Eurasia.
It doesn't even make sense for it not to be that way already.
I just think there's
Considering how interconnected we all are.
Yeah, there's a moderate likelihood that I mean, there are like diplomats and stuff do operate on the clock of the country they represent. I think there's a likelihood, I suppose. China does operate on one time zone. China's roughly the size of the United States, which we span 4 time zones. China has China Standard Time is what they operate on. And if you look at it, it's not that Western civilization is at risk of falling anytime soon. I hope not, because I like doing this. But Eastern civilization, China is ascending very hard. So as their wealth increases and we matter less as consumers, I could see them calling the shots globally. And then they could say, hey, if you want to trade in yuan, you probably want to shift your clocks to our time so we can talk about it.
I also think China should be gangster and have it be like 7 minutes off. Like our 6 o'clock starts at your 6:07. What are you going to do about it? Like just completely mess it up.
I wouldn't mind going to Chinatown. I mean, it's arbitrary.
Yeah.
It is, but
as long as there's no political implications of why we did it, if we're just going to a time, I don't care what time it is. I just don't want to ever have to ask.
How far off is China anyway from us? 12 hours?
Yeah, it is.
Then there you go.
Goes by longitude roughly. Yeah, I mean,
who would even care?
6 p.m. instead of 6 a.m.
And you're not saying adjust your waking rhythm, right? You're not saying
No.
So
we're just saying
if you go to work right now from 9 to 5 and we went to GMT, then you would now go to work from 2 to 10.
Yeah. You would never have to ask saying what time are we meeting your time? Like you just like, oh, we're meeting at 0200.
That's
cool.
the time.
Yeah.
I suppose.
And actually,
and get rid of daylight savings.
And get rid of daylight savings. Not that this means anything, but on Star Trek First Contact, the alien race, which I believe was, what was it? What are they called?
Borg,
the
right?
Spock guys?
Oh, the
Spock's
Vulcans?
Yeah, the Vulcans are the ones that discovered humans.
Right.
or that deem humans to be intelligent
Right. And the
life
Borg
form.
were the ones that are trying to stop that from happening.
I don't remember that
Yeah.
part, but what the way they define intelligent life is that the entire world, the entire planet has been united under a single entity,
Right.
and that you've achieved warp speed. You can travel at light speed. Those are their criteria for defining intelligent
And the
life.
farmer from Babe is the guy who figured it out.
Yeah, why
You know,
not?
is he really?
Yeah. That's
Really?
him.
I feel like I need to rewatch all the Star Trek movies because when I saw them before, I was entirely too young
Yeah.
to actually dig the cool subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I am old enough now that when I saw the reboots, I was like, "Yay, this is really cool!" But I thought Star Trek was more than this. And
Yeah.
It's
maybe
not.
that's because I read a bunch of reviews though that from people who enjoyed the originals.
Yeah.
They weren't my own opinions.
I wouldn't say that any of the Star Treks are great movies, but they are Star Trek, which I think is at a higher level than most content.
The last one of the last cruise, the last one of the original cast, I think is an excellent movie.
Okay.
Wait, that's Star Trek 6, right?
Yeah. I think it's like standalone. You don't need to know anything. It's just a good movie. But everyone, I think all the other ones are just like for fans of the series, but the sixth one actually is a standalone by itself.
I had heard because Leonard Nimoy recently died that his movie A Journey Home, which I don't even know that I ever saw that one because again I was way too young.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that one didn't even have a bad guy. What?
Well, there has to be an antagonist of some sort.
There was, but not in the form of another race. There was no alien antagonist. They didn't need that. It was something else. See, this is why I'm saying maybe
Which
I need
one?
to watch them.
A Star Trek?
Star Trek 4, I believe.
Right, where he's being raised on the newly terraformed planet.
I do not know.
Okay.
Yeah, I if I've seen it, I was too young to remember it. So
No, that's right. 3's the Wrath of Khan. 4's, yeah.
I thought 2 was the Wrath of Khan.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would make no sense then. I don't know.
Hmm.
The worst one's when they go meet God. That's the worst.
It sounds bad. I've never seen any of the original Star Trek
It's
movies.
super bad. It's
Yeah.
like it would be a bad episode and it was a movie. It's
Yeah.
so bad.
Got it. It makes me think of the Wonder Shows an episode where they go meet God.
Nice.
Don't worry, I'm not going to say any further. on it.
They kind of did that in Star Trek The Next Generation. They put together a puzzle from something, and they discovered that billions of years ago, there was an alien race who traveled the entire universe looking for other life, couldn't find it. And so they took their DNA and they split it up and spread it across the universe so that eventually that life would evolve and discover each other.
Huh.
That was Star Trek The Next Generation's explanation for why there are different life forms that all essentially look the same.
So like they did what Prometheus did.
Yeah, just like Prometheus.
Oh, I did not. I thought I had seen all that. So I probably have seen it, but that's like just a good way to say "f you" to like science guys. Like, why do you guys all look the same? Well, actually, there is a reason.
Yeah. There is that thing where panspermia is an idea that life throughout the universe can just be spread from planet to planet.
Yeah.
I don't like when people have to insert a deliberate actor, like an intelligent actor, like
Yeah.
you're talking with the alien race, into it. Like when they're like, no, I mean, there's this scientific theory where life could have been everywhere and these aliens spread the DNA
Yeah.
everywhere. And it's like, well, if you're trying to play that up to take science's side over some divine intervention, why did you add a divine intervener?
Yeah.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah. This is probably the first one that I don't feel like super compelled to watch, but I'll probably eventually give it a look.
Really? I so highly recommend
No,
it.
I mean, but of all the ones I've seen recommended, this is probably my first one where I'm not like, I can't believe I haven't seen this. This one's kind of like, okay,
I can see it doesn't have the polish of like Samsara, right?
nothing has
And
a
that's-
pulse. Sorry for what I've
that's
seen.
true.
Like,
Yeah, not a thing ever has.
yeah.
Nor will it ever.
No, I'll still give it a try. Like,
I
But-
can't highly enough recommend it.
No, I
It does a
understand.
whole lot to show humanity as one species that like everyone really
Right.
is the same. But then it also shows the problem of uniting the globe. You couldn't, right? If we all united under one banner today, we'd be the bad guys, like the really, really bad
Right.
guys. Because it really showcases the standard of living that a lot of people face. where it's showing the streets filled with poo and people hiking miles to get water, a guy getting his drinking and bathing water from an animal feeding tank. It's kind of bleak. It makes it appear that, well, like I said, if we were all in one community, we'd be the bad guys for hoarding our resources.
It's 102 minutes to change America.
Is it?
That's
Man,
what it
I wonder
said.
if it changed.
Or there's a 90 minutes to change.
Oh, there's a couple of those. They're clones of each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think-
I went through the same thing when I was trying to find that movie.
Yeah.
I know it was a History Channel special.
Yeah.
Would I don't know. Like I would, from what I saw of that, I know I haven't seen all of it. I still think 102. Like I guess because I'm American, I care. But like 102 minutes seems more compelling than that. Like as far as like, of course, I didn't see 9/11 happen until a month later. So
How about that?
there's that.
Huh, fascinating.
So you knew about it.
No, I knew about it, but on October 19th was the day I saw the towers get hit.
Very interesting. Oh, that's right. Reasons.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't in jail, but I was kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practically.
Yeah, so
My mom was driving from Georgia to Chicago, and she said there was nobody on the roads
yeah. Oh,
the
I
entire
imagine.
way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Barren.
Hell of
Yeah.
a commute day.
Oh, that's. I mean, if you're gonna drive across the country,
Yeah.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
so I guess for me, 102 minutes would have more significance because I never got to see any of that occurring. I just was like I saw the news a month late, and then so when I actually saw the footage, I was like
You're like,
in it for the first time.
yeah.
Mhm.
You're like, oh my God, that's like 10% as many people who died by firearms so far this year.
Well, no. Well,
Like,
I was just
oh, shit.
flipping through channels, and it was on, and me and my wife went dead silent for like
Yeah.
an hour. We didn't get up. We didn't talk during
Had
commercials.
she not seen it?
No,
What?
she hadn't seen 102 minutes.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
And
I
she was
gonna
in
say,
high school when it had occurred. So like she wasn't like,
Oh.
but yeah, like we just went silent for the rest of the movie. Didn't talk. Didn't do nothing. When it went off, I just went like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's a fascinating. Well,
Yeah.
again, it's effectively real time. I think they got it as close to
Mhm.
real time as you
and
can
you've
get it.
mentioned like if that was shot nowadays, we'd have
Oh, we would have way
bullet
more
time.
Oh,
is what
yeah.
he
You
said.
could do bullet time with the camera.
Yeah.
on
Wow.
there.
Yeah. So-
Actually, though, if you want to, if that topic interests you, the Howard Stern broadcast of that day is
Oh yeah.
the best piece of radio ever recorded. I'm just going to say that right now.
Mhm.
I'm calling it.
So, bottom line, forget One Day on Earth. Listen to Howard Stern's radio broadcast from September 11th, 2001. I'm saying that. I'm not asking you
do
that.
both. Why not?
Yeah.
If you have the time. But yeah, the Howard Stern. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was something else.
Yeah. He had me listen to it fast forward, but it is interesting how it escalates because he just tries to keep it a radio station at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then by the end he's like,
He's like, oh
Stop
man,
everything."
plane crash. Now let's see some boobies.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really. That's exactly the conversation.
Wow.
yeah.
That does sound, yeah. Where he's like, oh no, I
Yeah.
want to.
When the second plane crashed, I think that's when he like.
Yeah,
kinda
yeah. Well,
shuts
the
down.
second plane crash is an instant flip. It just
Yeah.
flips.
Yeah.
And then people start calling it. It gets intense. Because this is downtown New York.
Yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few people there.
Yeah.
A lot of stories in the
Yeah.
naked city.
But no, I'll definitely watch. What is it called? One Day
on Earth.
on Earth. I'll
Yeah.
watch it. It's just I'm just saying of everything we've gone, like this is the one that speaks the least to me. I'm not saying that it's of lower quality than anything else we've discussed, including Black Donnelly's.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. There we go. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Bottom
just saying-
line, Howard Stern one. I haven't listened to that, and I will promise.
Yeah.
Once you've finished the one season of the Black Donnellys,
No, watch this before Black Donnelly's. I will say
Yeah.
that. Of all the things YouTube recommended, this is the one that I'm like,
I would watch this over Ron.
really?
Ron is a classic, but I classics don't always do it
Mhm.
for me, and I feel like it was almost a cop out to recommend Ron because I'm recommending a classic,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, I'll tell you, if you want to be a wannabe movie buff like me, then watch Ron. So you can be like, oh yeah, I see Kurosawa in that.
yeah.
But if you want to watch something riveting that is really perspective altering, because
Yeah.
it literally shows people from everywhere on the entire planet,
yeah.
Antarctica too,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a perspective altering thing. Whereas Ron, you'll be like, high Japanese cinema in the 80s.